Welcome to the Screen Rock Podcast, the podcast where we discuss the worst content that's been rotting our screens and indeed our minds. I'm here as always with Jake Farrell. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's a miserable fucking summer, isn't it?
You're a big sun guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a massive sun guy, man.
Yeah.
I'm a massive, when I was like 8, I'd sunbathe on holiday. Genuinely.
Out there, copy of the sun, piss win on it.
Mate, you're not even, you're so bang on. You're so bang on. So we'd go to a caravan every summer, spend a whole 6 weeks of summer holidays in a caravan in Kent. Stuff. It was fucking amazing. And I would literally sit there on a sun lounger at the age of 8, read the back 5 pages of the Sun or the Mail, whatever my mum was reading, just to get the sort of football info at the time. And then, just sunbathe. It was great. Yeah. Eventually, a traveller's dog would come and chase me around for a bit, but otherwise... Age
8, copy of the Sun, fag on the go.
Yeah, but no, I am a sun worshipper.
This has been a tough summer then for you.
Yeah, it's been fucking bollocks, man. The other thing as well is any time the sun does shine, I just want to get out in it. I would say... the sort of career that I've sort of done in comedy over the last few years has been so kind of Edinburgh Fringe focused. Yeah. And I'd say I'd have had 10 times better career if the Edinburgh Fringe wasn't in August, because June and July, when I should be working on the show, right. I'm out there.
You're in the garden.
I'm not one of these. You see these weirdos who are in their rooms writing, and, putting sticky notes up and
writing
about
comedy.
Structure. Yeah, grow up. But yeah, no.
Only cowards write their stuff.
Yeah, I know. I haven't written stuff down in ages.
Like Jay-Z, off the dome.
Yeah, but no, it's sun's shining, so things are a bit better at the moment.
Yeah, it's good. I'm almost the direct opposite to you. My summer holidays as a kid, I had the England cricket hat on, big floppy one. I'm under the veranda. I'm reading Proust. I'm 9 years old. That was it.
We went to Turkey. I'd say I was 16, 17, maybe a little bit younger than that. And it's like south of Turkey. Like my parents are massive sun worshippers, and it's like literally would pick the holiday based on
100%
how hot you can get.
Yeah.
And around that time, so if I was sort of 14, 15, that would have been around kind of, mid-noughties. And that was when Turkey became a thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We couldn't quite afford the Sharm el-Sheikhs, but we'd do Turkey. Yeah. And it's just it was 44 degrees centigrade, right? Nowadays you'd have some fucking scruffy hippie chaining himself to a snooker table.
Yeah, climate change hadn't been invented then.
Ain't it raining?
I reckon my mum and dad probably saw the fires on roads and were like, "Oh, that looks quality."
Yeah. Well, listen,
must be hot.
I'm not a climate skeptic. I think it is happening. I just don't care, right? But I'm fed up at the moment because I'm supposed to be going to Cos in a few weeks' time, and it's fucking on fire at the moment.
No, yeah, it's a nightmare.
It'll cool down by then.
It'll be sorted. Don't worry about it. Don't even think about it.
So this week we're talking about a guy, and I would say in terms of this podcast kind of formation of you and I, well, me more than you, I'd be sending you shit at weird hours, sending you rock to look at on your phone. This is someone who was early on in that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
I'd say again, it's someone who probably started in lockdown, again built up traction because he wasn't doing anything else.
Yeah.
And it's gone huge, and it's also I think. This man has made a monster of himself through his own success.
Quite literally.
Yeah, well, yeah. Jesus, we're not really touching on that, but yeah, he's got big.
No, I meant the name, but yeah.
All right, yeah. No, he's fat, but look,
but I love this guy so much. This is what I've been looking forward to. This one, and we've talked about a few different kinds of people we like, people we don't, but this is one I've been really looking forward to.
I don't know where I'll stand on him.
Well, this is what we're here. We're here to analyse it. You're the real rock practitioner here. I'm an amateur. You're a professional.
It's Monday Night Football for shit.
Yeah, Monday Night Football for bullshit. Welcome to the Screen Rock Podcast. This week we're talking about
El Burrito Monster.
Scran.
Oi, get on this.
That's the best one yet. That's a good one.
This week we're chatting El Burrito Monster, a guy called Ollie, based in Manchester, who makes burritos on the internet.
Sounds
simple, he's fucking mad.
See you next week.
He yeah. It's that, isn't it? It's simple. It's some of these. It's quite hard to describe. When you got Mikey Menace or the family, you're like, what is this? How do you tell people?
Is this? Yeah. This one's easier.
With this guy, he makes burritos. He films himself making them. Problem is, he's been doing it for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And he's lost his mind.
His mind.
He should have opened some shit street food van outside the Trafford Centre. He should have got a job. Should have packed it in and grown up and gone and done a grad scheme somewhere. Really, instead he's stuck at it, and now the food he's making, it's like fucking Frankenstein's monster, isn't it?
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And like you say, he's clearly a really creative, I think, kind of resourceful bloke. And
he's a good cook.
He can
cook.
I reckon he's been properly trained, you know. And
do you think so?
I honestly do. Some of the stuff he does that kind of easy. I know he can multiple takes of it or whatever. I reckon at one point El Burrito Monster was like at a cordon bleu.
Jamie's kind of, what is it? Jamie Oliver does that. He does that sort of like
cooking for reprobates or whatever.
Yeah. He pulls a minibus up outside of a UV. What's it called? A juvie. Yeah. He pulls a minibus outside out of a juvie.
Who wants to learn how to make a roux?
Right, guys. Yeah, you've had a hard start in life, right? But do you want to come with me, learn how to make a proper fucking crepe and get a job one day? Yes, chef. And you end up with fucking on Saturday Kitchen.
We're gonna bleep that. We're gonna bleep all of that. I have to bleep all of that. You can guess who he's talking about. I'm pretty sure at this point you've come up with the idea of this podcast to A, give me a heart attack, and B, see how quickly I can learn to edit videos, because the amount of stuff I'm chopping out at this point.
Right. Yeah, basically, Jamie Oliver seems to have done this thing years ago where he turns up outside Juvies and gets,
I'm not sure that is exactly what he does, but it's something along those
struggling
lines.
Kids and get some cooking right. But I don't know whether that's what's happened. But you think this guy's been trained?
I think he started off wanting to make like proper food, and in the same way that we talked about in an earlier episode, how Gordon Ramsay was like the shit hot face of future like proper chefing, and then now does like Gordon Ramsay's street kitchen and critiques people's like Wellingtons on TikTok. That's what happened to El Burrito Monster. You can see the technique in his cooking is there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think do you know what, it's a funny thing. Like I like my cooking, and when I was younger, I wanted to be a chef.
Right.
And my dad said to me, it's quite ironic, really. My dad said to me, "Don't get into that." I remember him saying this to me. He's like, don't get into that because you'll be working when everyone else is out having a good time. It's a really stressful job. What do I do now? Stand-up comedian. Working while everyone else is having a good time. It's really fucking
You do not want to be a chef. You work late nights. They're in stressful environments.
Exactly. That's exactly what my dad said to me.
You don't want to be doing stuff on a Saturday night when everyone's down the
pub.
pub.
It's exactly what my dad said to me. But yeah, but then I do think it's similar to what you're saying with Gordon Ramsay, who, I guess is a businessman and a kind of TV personality now. But this guy maybe had the opportunity of being a chef,
right,
and has gone, fuck that for a laugh, it looks like hard work.
Yeah.
I would rather be
on TikTok.
Content creator.
Yeah, and again, it's SponCon and it's kind of like brand partnerships or whatever. But most of the time, it looks like he's sat in his mum and dad's garden making a football boot out of onion bhajis. That's what he tends to be doing.
But it started like El Burrito Monster. It started burritos.
Just burritos, yeah.
Just burritos. And
clues in the name.
And it's, they were nice.
Yeah, normal-ish, normal looking.
And then, it got a bit adventurous. Maybe you bang the chicken in the air fryer.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the pizza oven cooks the meat quicker, and then, blah, blah, blah. And now he's boasting about the fact that he uses swords. He's bought actual swords. Yeah. And he sort of scores his leg of lamb with a fucking sword.
Yeah.
And it's like... And as is the case with a lot of these people, the parents have got a very nice big garden.
Lovely big garden in Cheshire.
Lovely big garden in Cheshire, isn't it? Yeah, it is. You can tell, like, it's sort of... There's a couple, he's northern, obviously, and there's a couple of them where he's like, I like rugby. I was like, I bet you fucking do. Parents have got a rugby pitch in the back garden.
And it's like, we sent Ollie to Cordon Bleu. He was there for 2 years. It only cost us 45 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
What does he do now? He makes burritos that look like shoes.
Yeah. He makes a Scotch egg. It's got lasagna in it.
Should we have a look at the first video?
This is when he was sort of young and innocent.
Right, this is the start of his kind of burrito making career.
I've had my wrap and beans, bacon, cheese. Another wrap, beans, bacon, cheese down.
The singing.
And then a
Remember
wrap,
these days.
beans, bacon and cheese. Then roll it up, wrap pastry.
He's mental. He's making a burrito Wellington.
I'll slice, looks quite nice. I'll scran.
So this is, and it's like a nice thing with Arthur, because we used to send each other this, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of the times
Looks young there as well, doesn't he? It makes
looks
me realise
well,
how long he's been going.
It makes me wonder how much more well we used to look when we were watching it.
How much better we looked at the start of this afternoon when we started recording the podcast.
Right. But he's like, back then, he's sort of young, he's got a bit of a glint in his eyes, he's singing along. I don't know what the song is there were sort of 3 songs that he'd sing. He'd do one that was like, hey everyone, making a sandwich, put coriander in and some avocado, and then I'll toast it, and then I'll shove it. That's one of the songs he'd do. Then there's this sad, it's all sort of like pop music that you'd listen to on like Radio 1, which, we're too old for. So we haven't got a clue.
I think I asked someone about this.
Is it Ed Sheeran?
No, he did another Ed Sheeran. I think that's Driver's License by someone. I think. I'm not sure.
He does do the Ed Sheeran one. He does.
Beans and rice and beans and guac. Yeah.
But it's sweet. It's charming, isn't it? It's quite nice.
These were the good old days.
Yeah,
you knew what was happening. He was making a burrito.
Yeah.
It was going to have something in it that wasn't normal burrito stuff.
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? It would. When I found him, and I'm at a funny stage in my life.
I think that's fair to say.
Look at us.
Look at us.
My spare room.
And this is a good day for the record, by the way. This is class.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. The ghosts of failure that dance among us as we celebrate.
Taking each of our last 6 hairs.
I've got 2 kids.
Beautiful kids.
I used to do a podcast about drugs for the BBC. I've spent many a season in Greece. I used to have a mad life, right? I used to get on it. I used to have a good time. I still, I get to Ibiza once a year, cleanse my soul. But I said that, by the way, I just want to interrupt myself. I said that to my girlfriend the other day. I was like, babe, I need to get to Ibiza at least once a year to cleanse my soul. She was like, you don't cleanse your soul. You come back so exhausted you can't stay awake during dinner times. You've got such a bad come down that you don't speak to me. Anyway.
That's the opposite of soul cleansing, I think.
The point is, I used to be young, free, mad, have a good time.
Right.
That's all gone. And if I get a night off from stand-up, from working now, what I'm doing is I'm getting the kids and my missus to sleep. I'm cleaning the house. Then I'm laying on that sofa down there with either a weed edible or a little weed vape.
Yeah.
And I'm getting mildly stoned on a little bit of cannabis.
Just a lovely little bit.
And it's 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing for fun is I'm scrolling the Uber Eats app in the same way that most men would watch pornography. Right? I'm not actually going to do it. I can't do it. I'm in love with my wife. I can't fucking do it. But I can have a look and pretend. 16 quid burger. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to have a look.
Oh, that's so good.
And so this, if you're kind of stoned, peckish, and it's 11:30 at night, you're not actually going to eat.
Yeah.
This is like fucking Willy Wonka turning up.
100%.
He's showing you everything you want to eat, and he's doing something so mental with it that you think you're tripping your fucking nut off.
Age 31, 32, like the illicit thing is no longer like sex acts and
No.
The illicit thing is like,
I might give myself such bad heartburn that I have to go to A&E. I might eat enough shite that I hospitalise myself. I might eat such hot, spicy food at such a late hour at night that I have to replace my colon with a little bag in the morning.
Calling sick to work for the next 3 days. What's the matter? Are you ill? Yeah, I had a spicy chicken burger on Tuesday.
Yeah. At 12:30 at night, I ordered a dansak.
Yeah.
Now,
and I put in the comments for the restaurant extra hot 3 exclamation marks.
I do, and this is what I do when I'm at the Indian. I go to the Indian near me, and I see my friend Raj, and again I do this to myself, and I'm the next day I'm looking at dialysis machines on eBay. But I go to the, and I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm showing off, and I'm with my mates. I've had a beer, and I get Raj. I hold his arm. I go, Madras hot, please, Raj. I'm not a cunt.
He's back again. Raj going into the kitchen. He's here again. Keeps telling me I'm not a cunt.
But so this is my evening just spent having little bits of cannabis, nice little bit of cannabis, and I watch this freak make these monstrosities.
And he's been there for us in tough times.
Yeah, exactly. I've had times with the missus where things are tough. I've had a hard day with the kids. I sit down, have my weed pen, and I watch him sing a song to the tune of "Shape of You" by Ed Sheeran, a sort of strangely dancehall track made by a ginger man, and he's singing it, and I put a pork pie in it then, and I fucking love it. But what's happened over time? We've been watching this guy for a while. It started as this innocent thing. He's singing a song to an avocado. It's all, it's all good. And over time, it's become corporate, but it's also become disgusting.
Yes.
And I think it's, Mahatma Gandhi's dead now.
Famously.
But I think if he was...
This is one of the true pleasures of doing this, right? There's many pleasures of doing this. But, like, I've known you... How long have I known you? 12 years? 10 years?
Yeah.
And there are times when, if you'd have stopped me just before you'd said Mahatma Gandhi's dead there now, and you'd given me 1 million guesses as to what you were going to say next, I would never have got it. And that's really what keeps me going.
He's dead now. But I think if you were to say, Mahatma, come in, and he sort of comes in, sit him down.
Yeah, don't do any voices. I'll have to bleep them. Just do it in your voice.
Sit down, Mahatma.
Yeah.
And you were to say, Mahatma, would you agree that Western civilization has gone the same way as El Burrito Monster? Would you agree that it's corroded due to corporate greed and for trying to serve a mass audience, and it's become something disgusting and mutated and something that doesn't even resemble the once sweet thing that you fell in love with? I think he'd look at you and go, but he'd mean yes.
Yeah, he would say yes. And this is and I think the second video kind of shows this, right? It started innocently. It started nice big burritos with stuff you don't have in them anymore.
And cooked well, as you were saying.
Bloody cooked well. And over time, it's just become grotesque. And I think this second video that we're going to watch now is a good example of that. So in this one, no voiceover track to this. If you're listening, he's making a lasagna. And you think, he's just making a normal lasagna.
Now. It's in the oven. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's slicing it up. Why is he doing that? Right, he's putting it in breadcrumbs and batter, and he's deep fried it.
And he's scranned it.
And I don't even know what you'd call what that is.
I think you'd have to call it
deep fried
lasagna bites. You'd have to call it, by government decree, a heart attack.
It's like if someone's gone to like the darkest corner of an Iceland freezer. Do you know what I mean? The stuff that no one buys for kind of party season at Christmas. We got sausage rolls, spring rolls if you want some of that for Christmas. No one does. And then gone. What if someone who can kind of cook tried to make a real one?
And this is like, do you remember that in the early days of the internet, well, not the early days of the internet, but the early days of like viral content, there was that like
5 years ago.
Yes, maybe a little bit longer. There was that like epic mealtime craze.
Yeah.
And it was like lads eating burgers the size of their heads or whatever. Yeah. And it was all this fun. Like El Burrito Monster is bringing that back. That kind of disgusting, decadent vibe to it.
That kind of grotesque, what if there were no rules around eating?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And there should be rules around eating. Because we're not dogs. No. Do you know what I mean? We don't eat ourselves to death.
Look, you've made that lasagna. Stop there.
Just serve it. Just serve the lasagna.
Your face then was so earnest. Just serve it, man. No, Drew, just serve it as it is.
Handful of leaves, balsamic glaze, lovely jubbly.
And you know, it reminds me of that bit in The Office where in the first series where Ricky Gervais has the conversation with Stephen Merchant, who's playing the Og Monster, and he's like calls himself the Og Monster. He goes, "You're not the Og Monster. What's your real name? Just call me by your real name." That's the conversation I want to have.
It's how you want to break down what he's doing, isn't it?
You're a good lad.
Get rid of this artifice. You don't need to do this.
You're not El Burrito Monster. You're called Ollie.
Your parents like you.
They love you. They've got a rugby pitch in the fucking back garden. You don't have to do this.
You've got friends.
You've got friends.
You went to university.
You've bought a sword, man. You've bought a sword. What are you doing? You started making nice burritos. You made a burrito Wellington. It's all a bit of fun. Do not make fried lasagna bites. It's bad.
Were they Scotch eggy as well, though? Can we just one more time?
Yeah, we can have another little look.
And the thing is, he does like all that properly,
Bechamel.
Bechamel.
Proper bits and bobs. Stop there. Lovely. And it's Arga. Mum and Dad have got an Arga. Of course they are. And he's got this obsession. What I actually do, again,
board.
He kind of goes with the family a little bit because he has that suburban vibe to him of, he thinks serving things on a chopping board with a splodge of writer next to it. That's the height of culinary,
like
sophistication.
Yeah.
But he can't really make these things look good because he's made a beef Wellington with baked beans inside.
Yeah.
So they look gross.
It's like breadcrumbs. Also, and it's like, it's just I'm surprised he doesn't get people after him. I'm not saying he should, and I wouldn't.
We love him.
I don't think this way. But there's a mate of mine called Horatio, and I'm embarrassed that I say that sentence, but there's a mate of mine called Horatio.
Bloody good comment.
Horatio Gold, right? And he does these sketches, and he did a sketch once for him and his mate did a sort of spoof of like how chefs cook and how French chefs cook and English chefs cook. And basically, they, not cancelled, but they got loads of people going after them for wasting food.
Really?
Yeah. They got loads of people going mad.
Oh my
cost of living
God!
crisis,
The Burrito
food
Monster.
banks.
That's his thing.
How the fuck is he not getting people going? Why are you wasting all this food? Because there's no way he's eating that.
He's cooking a pound of beef a day. He's cooking like
yeah.
legs of lamb in an afternoon.
It's mad, man.
Right.
It's mad. I mean,
the next one is
he's got like a few. Sorry, I'll cut across you then.
Well, no, I was just going to say like that point about wastage is really interesting, and we've talked about like how the kind of these personalities or these internet trends like reflect the times. There is another thing, right, of like people are living in straitened times. They haven't got the money or the energy to do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And they know they should be eating well, so it's nice to go on Instagram and watching a bloke making a burrito the size of a small child.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Which is mad. Exactly. If you and your family have just had like fucking, I don't know, like chicken nuggets and chips for dinner for the third time that week, you can't afford fresh food or whatever. To watch this geezer take a leg of lamb, blitz it, roll a burrito with it, and he does this sometimes, by the way. And I wish I'd found a video of this. He'll make a burrito, and when I say make a burrito, chicken, fresh slaw, fresh rice, refried beans, cheese,
Scotch bonnet salsa,
homemade salsa, all this sort of stuff. Proper thing. And then what he'll do is he'll just put that in a blender with some water, just blend it to shit, then throw a load of flour in it to make a dough. He does this, then he flattens that out. To make a tortilla,
right,
and then puts another burrito in that,
and it's a burrito in a burrito.
But how is no one commenting, going, "You disgusting fucking wanker"? Give that to someone who can eat it.
Yeah, he does get his neighbours involved sometimes and stuff like that. I know he makes his mum do a scran, but
but this is,
those seem like gestures at sharing it to me.
There's a loneliness to him.
Yeah. There is
a loneliness to him.
Again,
there's
another
no
key
mates.
theme for all of these people.
There's a thing, and I think he does it in the next video, actually. There's a thing he does where he opens a bottle of beer using his flip-flop.
Why?
And it's like the most uni thing you've ever seen. Right? It's
another big part of his vibe, actually.
Yeah, it's very uni, very kind of like rugby team. It is that kind of rugby team thing of haha, bet you can't do this, bet you can't finish one of these, bet you can't make this. And
Bacon's epic.
Yeah. Bacon's epic is like, you guarantee that he did about 50 Facebook statuses saying that back in the day. But you really get the vibe of like watch him open this beer, and I'm microanalyzing now, but that is the point of the podcast. But he opened this beer, and you can tell it's like, you've never opened a beer for someone before.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? You've never had someone who actually wants you to pass them a beer.
No.
So the reason you're making this insane song and dance about opening it with your flip-flop is because it's just you drinking the beers alone, and you're entertaining yourself by doing it with your foot. And if you had a friend who was just sitting like we are now saying, "Can I have a beer, please, Ollie?"
Yeah.
You wouldn't fuck around with it on your flip-flop because they just want the beer, and they'd look at you like, "Can I just have it?"
Yeah, he does.
You've never had that.
He does have that vibe. You're right. He's kind of like, like Stig of the Dump, where they find him and then they teach him how human manners or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's kind of as though it's like too like a human. It's like almost uncanny.
I've never been so certain that someone's an only child in my life.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Do you know what I mean? Too much time on your hands, don't understand how to share. Do you know what I mean?
Making big burritos made of beef Wellingtons.
I think this one is something, again, kind of... He's got a few things that he went through a kind of gyros phase where everything was becoming a gyros. The burritos, Scotch eggs...
It's like Taylor Swift. He's got his different eras.
Yeah, and I think this is... He started doing stuff where he was like dangling
Got a
stuff.
nifty idea for you.
Oh,
Stick the ball in with a couple scoops
so
of
this
my
is
protein,
SponCon.
salted caramel, some milk, some honey, lid on, shake it up in my pots and freeze.
And he's doing it
then
with
I
my
get to scoop the
protein.
unflavoured my protein into the pizza dough and mix it till it comes together. Then boil
This
it
is
up
making a
like so
pizza
into
dough
a
out
bowl and in the
Look
fridge
at the
overnight.
garden
And
on
now
it,
I'll
man.
get my dough cut into four
There's a
and
sword.
then re-balled and onto my tray to let rise. Then pull them out and slice, then stretch like so and roll and cook it till done, and I'll slice it open.
kind of calzone
Then I
thing
make a
he's
quick
made.
3-ingredient microwave salted caramel with some MyProtein creatine mixed through and an ice cube, then into a squeezy bottle. And I'll get my frozen salted caramel protein whisked up into a gelato like so, and it's so good. So I'll stand these up, scoop of ice cream in both of them, and a bit of the creatine caramel. Code Burrito for 10% off, but it's time for a good old Scran. That's actually so good.
Scran. That's made me feel really depressed, that has. Also, like, what fucking idiot at the MyProtein marketing department is going, do you know who's gonna have a load of gym lads?
Yeah.
Do you know who needs creatine? Like, he himself is quite gym bro-y, but like the people, as we've said, that he is marketing his videos to are like 10-year-olds or tired dads. Those are the this guy. So like the idea that
I'm not buying creatine.
no need. Have a banana. It's the same
creatine
thing.
here.
Yeah,
What I would, if I'm going to shout out a company, I would shout out Dabwoods.
What do they do? Is it illegal?
Yeah.
Oh fucking hell! I'll get rid of that.
Just beat that Dabwoods.
Yeah.
But no,
we've I think we're doing this from a place of love, right? Because I love him so much.
I love what he was.
Yeah.
I don't like what he's becoming.
And
I
this
like
is
the
another
songs. I like the innocence.
Yeah.
I like the kind of child, like, whatever made a Scotch egg which had a bit of lamb in it. Do you know what I mean? What if I did a burrito with a little bit of pastry on top? Not fucking, I'm going to whisk and make an ice cream with protein and then some creatine.
10% off, El Burrito Monster.
It's also, you said this to me once, and I was like, this is so, people don't consider this with these food creators a lot of the time. You can watch what they're doing. You can kind of hear what they're doing. You can't taste what they're doing.
Oh, God.
That right there is disgusting.
Yeah, for sure.
You guarantee you've made pizza dough with unflavoured whey protein. It's revolting.
It's going to be hard.
There is no way on this earth that tastes nice, but no one can call him because you can't taste it.
No. And it looks good aesthetically. It looks colourful.
Yeah, well, it looks mad. Do you know what I mean? It looks mental.
But do you know what? And this is where I don't know if you'll agree with this one. I think there's still more honour in what he's doing than in the kind of like trendy East London chef using £25 olive oil on a piece of bread kind of bullshit. Do you know what I mean? If I see that fucking Thomas Straker make a big blob of butter one more time...
Oh, yeah, they came for him the other day, didn't they?
Did they?
He got cancelled the other day. Yeah, we'll do an episode. We'll do him next week.
Yeah,
do Straker next week.
I would like
we'll
to
do
spend
Straker
some
next
time
week.
with him.
Check out next week. We'll do Straker next week because he's nuts.
He's fucking nuts.
But he's also problematic and he's been done now.
Which we love. No, I don't know. But like, and do you know what I mean? I prefer El Burrito Monster in a way because it's mad and it's a bit like
it's childlike imagination,
right? Like, tell me how to make a calzone that looks like a tennis court.
Yeah.
Instead of telling me how to make like burnt shallots with like focaccia or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck about that.
But then it's that thing that we sort of mentioned earlier of like it just gets twisted by, you know, corporate greed and trying to appeal to a mass audience. It's what Gandhi would be so upset about. Mahatma, who in my head is still sat here. Between...
We didn't invite him to leave actually, so he is still. How's it going? Are you enjoying it? He's enjoying it. It turns out okay.
He's like a little old bird. You know, all his feathers are falling off. He's all skinny and kind of.
He just sat there, sat next to us, little wry smile on his face. This is class, lads. Thanks for having me. I think I don't know how to kind of wrap this up. I know that we've got one more clip that we do want to show of him. I think this is him at his most decadent and fucked, right?
Well, it's SponCon. It's sponsored content. This one, and it's like. But it's like they've got a gun to the bear's head. They're making him do gross stuff, and it's also there's other kind of influences involved in this one, and it's so kind of like moneyed and ugly and dirty and not, you know, just a million miles away from. I've got my wrap, I've got mad beans, put some cheese on top of it now.
Just to set the scene on this one, I think he's been asked to move into like an influencer's house for a week. And he's then made a video. I think it's some kind of phone company or some kind of smart house.
I think it's Samsung.
Right.
And I think it's called a smart house.
Right.
Where like every fucking room has got a touchscreen wall. And wait till you see this. There's a games room where you can play your games. And obviously in the kitchen, you know, the oven's actually a projector. and it's all that sort of thing. And I'm looking at this going... I don't think they're ever going to sell one of these houses.
Who wants this?
Well, I don't think even he wants it.
They don't do a great job. I mean, let's have a look at it now.
This is mental.
My housemate George had been gaming all day and forgot to eat. So I set up a Bixby routine in the gaming room to mess up all the devices. I also put the oven on with just enough time to make her favourite food. Nachos.
Toxic vibes there, messing with her gaming.
A little bit of a win. Get all my veggies chopped up. Tomatoes taste so good.
Making her some nachos.
Making my own salsa, because you know how I roll. Sit up, give it a taste, and we're making guacamole.
Really sexual about the way he makes guacamole.
Yeah, exactly. I think he is trying to be sexy now.
Nacho surprise.
So he's
God knows what that was.
This lady's gaming for some reason. He's put a thing on her smart home.
I brought you some lunch.
And he's used a phone to open the curtain.
Enjoy. Sorry about the game, but had to be done.
Now
has to be done.
This is we've got a kind of a trope that we refer to, right, where like the kind of fairer sex of women being served by men. Man. And it really boils down to this meme that went around of Jamie Carragher giving Kate Abdo a small glass of water on
while Thierry Henry stares at her.
While Thierry Henry stares at her.
Can we share it? Can we share the picture on the screen now?
Yeah, I can put the picture on now. You can see the little thing there.
It's basically it was originally shared. People sharing it with the purpose of being like Thierry Henry is clearly in love with Kate Abdo, and it's like him just sort of staring at her across the desk.
Yeah. They have great on-screen chemistry.
She's sort of drinking a bottle of water and he's just like that. But what's really funny is that Carragher, the kind of hunched scouse servant, has had to bring her this bottle of water, stand like a cuckold in the background whilst Henri ogles her as she drinks the water. And then whilst Henri's still sort of there, the sort of svelte Frenchman, like, did you enjoy your water? And she's like, Carragher just sort of takes the bottle and goes, okay, I'll just screw it out for you.
And that's all he wants. He doesn't actually want to kiss her.
No,
he just wants to give her.
He'll happily let the Frenchman kiss her. He just wants to serve her.
That's how he gets off. And there's a real vibe to that, to the El Burrito Monster there.
Yeah, what he's just done there. He doesn't even have the bollocks to say, would you like some nachos?
Yeah.
He's done this insane kind of theatre play where he's used the technology in this ridiculous house to open the curtains, turn her game off, then apologise for doing so, give her food, and it's, obviously it's scripted and she knows it's coming. And then the last line as he leaves is kind of like, had to be done, and it sort of reminds you of what a sort of fat northern kid would do if they actually went out on a limb and bought a Valentine's card for the girl they fancy at school.
I made you a Victoria sponge.
Yeah, had to be done. And sort of run away back to the kitchen.
Yeah, it's one of those vibes. The storyline of the bit as well is that he's like interrupting her or whatever. That's one of those real vibes of like when someone gets dumped and then they like bring a piano to outside of the girl's house and they're like, I'm going to play like Bruno Mars until you take me back or whatever. And it's meant to be like, but it's actually like, call the fucking police. Call Plod.
I did that.
Did you?
I've done something like that.
How old are you?
How long have we got? It's quite a long
Might be a story for another day.
Oh, I'll squeeze it out. So basically, when I was 19, I'd gone on holiday to Falaraki on a lad's holiday, fallen in love with a Slovakian waitress while I was there, got back to England and gone, fuck it, I'm just going to fly back, get a job and live and work out there with her. So I was out there with this Slovakian waitress who, A, was, not a very nice person, completely unattractive, and B, didn't really like me.
Crucially.
And I was out with her in a club out there one night, and it was weird because I was really young. There's a gay guy who was like, kind of her mate, but would sort of do strangely flirty things with her and sort of make eye contact with me while he was doing it, like just grab bits of her and stuff like that. And he sort of pushed me too far one night, so I punched him.
Okay.
Got kicked out of a nightclub, and she was like screaming at me about it. So I went to the beach outside of her hotel, because she was like living in a hotel for the summer, and I rearranged some rocks to say sorry.
We spelt it with one R.
And I was out there with my mate Big Dave, who'd also fallen in love with a Greek waitress, and I just remember, we had like shit phones at the time. And I remember him like sending me a text being like, "Where are you?" at like 6 a.m. And I remember texting being like, "I'm doing a big art attack on the beach to say sorry to Majka." And I remember he replied to me going, "Just don't fucking come back."
An art attack, a big art attack. That's so good. I actually knew various other parts of that story, but not that part, and that's made my day. That's fantastic. Yeah. So, I mean, look, we've all been there with Ollie.
We've all been as pathetic as Ollie is being in this video. Yeah. And there's a part of me when you see him serving a woman that you go, yeah, okay, I get it, right? And, I I understand that. I think what's ugly is the fact he's doing it in this mad Samsung smart house, and he's doing it to advertise a house that no one will ever buy. And it's also like the worst thing I've ever seen him make. It's the most basic and shit. Oven-baked Doritos with a bit of cheese on top.
That's what really gets me, is because
you got a sword at home.
Exactly. Clearly, he's a showman. He's like Liberace when he's at home. He's got swords. He does little frames of it where he's naked under the apron. Yeah. And then as soon as big Samsung come a calling, he's making nachos and pretending he likes it. It's like Elvis. At the end of Elvis's career, he was so fucked by the management that all of the innate creativity had gone and it seeped away. And I don't want that to happen to El Burrito Monster. I still have hope.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll revisit him.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Come back. Should we do that?
I would love to do that in like a year's time.
See if he's gone back to the songs and the sort of happy, nice stuff.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. And by then, of course, he might be living in kind of Dubai or something.
Yeah, we will. Here's how you make some. I'm not even going to do it. I was going to say something really horrendous about him disembodying a worker.
Yeah. I'm here at the new fan park that's being created in Abu Dhabi to give some of the workers a burrito made out of onion bhajis.
Yeah. Little do they know, I've used one of their co-workers' feet.
We've got faith in you, El Burrito Monster.
Yeah, come back good, mate. Come back good and we'll get you again. If you've enjoyed it, subscribe, share all the bits and bobs, and have a listen to it when you're on the move, because it's a good listen as well. Until next time, I've been Jacob Hawley. This is Jake Farrell. This is Mahatma Gandhi.
Screen!
Screen!